Hey guys, I'm Ivan.
I'm Sean.
And together we are from
Quadrant.
So today we'll be talking about this fantastic topic, which is the 3 biggest opportunity in the year 2022.
Yes, so if you guys did not really see what was our prediction for last year, if you take a look, you'll realize that actually we are pretty accurate. So you can expect 2022 to also be accurate. That's how confident I am in our predictions.
Walao, so confident, go and buy 4D already. So
in property only lah. Okay, so basically, what's the first prediction?
The first prediction is that the 1-bedroom units, right, will be very super hot, and there's a prime potential for capital appreciation.
Yeah, I think in 2021 we did mention that 1-bedder is also a good opportunity, but moving towards, although prices have increased in the last 1 year, right, but in 2022 I still expect the 1-bedder price point to increase further. Yeah, why? Okay, to be more specific, is because if you think about it, guys, if you look at all the new launches around, you look at the 1-bedder price points, many of them are all launched at 1 million and above. This means that if you think about it, you go and look at the resale market, there are a lot more resale properties that are like 800k range, 700k range. So in terms of percentage gain potential, there's a lot more to be made. Of course, then again, do ensure, alright, that you, one easy thing you can do, you can look at a new launch available and start looking at the projects surrounding, alright, and see what's the big price difference between the 1-bedder, and perhaps then that will be a good opportunity for you to look at.
Well, the angle I look at, right, is that when we go to fundamentals, before 2018, right, a lot of the 1-bedroom units are actually built smaller. And after 2018, right, the ruling came out that the average dwelling size, right, will be 85 square meters or so. So in other words, right, for a developer to build a 1-bedroom apartment at 50 square meters, the 3-bedroom apartment need to be at 120 square meters, which is huge.
Yeah.
So in other words, right, it does not really make sense for developers to be building a lot of small 1-bedders. They may be building like 1+ study or what so, right? So in other words, if you're looking at the resale market, right, the 1-bedroom unit or the studio unit is rare, and it may not be built anymore in the future.
Yeah, and also do take note that, because remember, all projects in Singapore has been a new launch before. Right, so whatever is new will always become old. So therefore, even though that shiny new 1-bedder looks very beautiful from a beautiful showroom, I do take note that ultimately they will also be sold in the resale market. And when it's being sold in the resale market, it's always resale comparison versus resale comparison, and that's where consumers will then start looking at the price difference. Alright, and if the price difference is big enough, that's where attention will be shifted to something that will likely be more value for money.
So in short, right, opportunity 1 is resale 1-bedroom apartments, right, that are built before 2018.
Yes. Okay. So what's number 2, Ivan?
Number 2 is 3-bedroom opportunities in the CCR region.
Interesting, right? Yes. Specifically in the CCR region, right? So a trend that we're starting to see, especially in 2020, 2021, if you notice that all the very strong sales performing new launches in the core city region largely consists of projects that build a lot of 1-bedder and 2-bedder. Yeah, which means that if you think about it, while everyone go and buy the 1-bedder and 2-bedder, actually if you go and buy the 3-bedder, actually you think of it, the competition is a lot lesser, right? And therefore, okay, while everyone run to the left, why don't you run to the right, right? So that you have lesser competition, which means rental will also likely be better. And this also, you think about it, also links back down to the rental demand in Singapore. All right, what's your thoughts that's happening in the rental market in Singapore?
Well, because of all this COVID situation, right, there's demand for bigger housing space, or demand for more space in general because of the whole work from home. I don't know, like I guess this work from home situation is going to, or hybrid system, right, is going to be here for a very long time in the future. So what this means is that a 3-bedroom apartment, right, will be popular.
Yeah, I totally agree. So maybe sharing from one of my experience. Yeah, so in 2018 or 19, I can't remember, around that period, right? I actually did rent, or my mother-in-law, to be more specific, did rent a 3-bedder condominium, right? So the condominium was in Xinmin there. I still remember our rental. Our rental is actually 3.1k. 3.1k.
3,100
lah, 3,100. in today perspective, in today's market,
The same apartment.
same, all right, same layout, same everything, maybe even lower floor, lousier view, doesn't matter, right? The cheapest you can ever get, right, in the same condominium is like around at least 4 plus K, low 4K, which means that the rental actually increased by like 30%, 30%, right? I think this, of course, is from the whole working from home environment, right? People want a bigger place and so on and so forth, right? And I can expect this trend to continuously move forward from 2022 onwards as well. And therefore, throughout, after looking at so many portfolios, looking at so many properties in the market, right? I think it's a constant trend that I see that the 3-bedders are actually getting higher and higher rents. So it's very interesting. So now not only 1 and 2-bedders, I mean, most people buy 1 and 2-bedders for investment. Perhaps you might want to look at 3-bedder for investment as well. Not only a lot of these projects, right, have lesser 3-bedder for sale, which means lower competition. Lower competition means that you can get higher rent, and most importantly, when you sell, right, in the market, you'll likely be able to fetch a better pricing as well.
So in short, right, the opportunity too is buying 3-bedroom apartments in the CCR region because of lower supply.
Yes, right. And so comes down to the third opportunity and the third prediction that we're going to make for 2022. So what is it?
Okay, so because of the recent cooling measures, right, whereby ABSD has been increased across the board, right, our take is that the trend will be that property investment will be shifting away from residential properties. For everyone that's trying to buy a second one and paying ABSD, it doesn't make sense. So what does this mean? This means that maybe more and more people will be investing into commercial properties or industrial properties. And other than that, right, where else do you think people will invest in?
I mean, I personally invest in overseas property as well, but of course, after doing a lot of due diligence, alright, and of course, more experience, right, in property investing, that's where I feel a lot more comfortable investing in overseas as well. But the truth to this is that as government continuously clamp down with cooling measures on Singapore residential property, don't get me wrong, I still think that Singapore residential property will continuously increase in price point, but at what growth rate? So that's the key question over here, right? And therefore, since ABSD continues to increase, more and more attention will be on other asset classes, right? But however, every single one of the asset classes have its pros and cons. For example, industrial property, one of the most so-called thing that
biggest pain point
people don't like is actually that is a low leasehold. Low leasehold means that they're scared that, you know what, no one buy from them, means that the property is gonna decay, right? In leasehold means they lose money, right? So if you want to find out more about industrial property and of course to really understand how leasehold really affects you, right, do view one of this particular video, right? Do look at the leasehold, and how does it impact the industrial property space, right? How are you going to get around it so that you actually save your investment as well? So that is one of the main pain point, right, that people look at. So number 2, since industrial property maybe might not be suitable for some or many, right, then you look at commercial. Shophouses and things like that. But the problem with shophouse is this, right? How much does a typical shophouse cost?
It will be 4 million and up, maybe
4
5,
million and
6
up,
million.
Yeah, right. So not everyone have such a deep pocket like Mr. Ivan's high, right? So in this scenario, think about it, the down payment is going to be 1 million and above. How many of us have $1 million sitting around just to invest in multiple shophouses? I don't think that's many, right? And therefore, this, although it serves as an opportunity, alright, however, it's not readily available for many of us. Okay.
How about offices, commercial offices or shops?
Yeah, so commercial offices, the problem about this is that the last 2 years, the commercial market has been very lackluster. Alright,
because of this COVID situation,
working from home and things like that. So I'm not too sure if you are willing to take on this risk.
Will you even touch retail?
No, definitely not, right? I mean, business are going e-commerce and things like that. So in fact, rentals have been great for industrial, but haven't really been too great for retail. So maybe perhaps some might argue that this serves as an opportunity to go in. Okay, but however, I think for most mass market, I think this could be a little bit leaning towards higher risk.
I'm pretty much against retail. The whole reason being that if you're talking about like going to a shopping mall, right, you will go to a certain mall with a certain theme. Like for example, if you go to Bugis, you may think of like young fashion, or if you go to Paragon area, it would be like more luxurious stuff. Or so if you go into a mall, right, that is strata title, that means sold to individual investors, right, you get a mixture of like
Pasar Malam, I think about it, like Pasar Malam. So imagine you open a nice little fashion shop. Then your neighbor is some random mama shop. Right?
Locksmith.
Locksmith for you. Like that. I mean, there's no team. You call it THEME. There's no team to the shopping mall, and therefore many of these shopping malls that are sold to individuals largely fail and do not have a lot of foot traffic.
Yeah. So in short, right, when we are talking about opportunity tree, once again, go for non-residential, which is like industrial or overseas.
I think just natural reaction, right? I think as it gets tougher to invest in Singapore residential property, it's only natural that people start looking around. Since they're going to start looking around, then why don't you identify and understand and gain knowledge on those asset classes that are not impacted ABSD? So it's of course industrial property, commercial property, and largely overseas property as well. I'm a large investor in overseas property. I personally invest in the UK market. I love the rental yield there. Many of my properties over there are like 999 years leasehold, so I'm never worried about lease decay. My rental yields are typically 4.5% to 5.5%. Some are hitting 6% rental yield. All right, and that's where, you know what, collecting good rent, I'm not scared on decay and in leasehold. And most importantly, all right, is that of course through Quadrant, I typically get good deals and good discounts. So of course I do make money from the day that I purchase rather than waiting for the market to increase, then I make money. So that's what I'm excited about for overseas property.
Right. I hope you guys have been learning something from this video. Do remember to give us a thumbs up and also subscribe to our channel. Okay, so once again, I'm Ivan.
And Sean.
I see you. Bye.